Not tomorrow, today.
Today even.
In a minute.
It will be Jacob, because he's the one who's got access to.
Okay, whenever you guys are ready.
Hello, welcome to the show. Welcome to the next episode of the Real Talk podcast. Today, our guest, because I'm talking about my co-host, that is actually a camera operator right now.
Hi guys.
Miss you, Jacob.
I'm still with you.
Still with me, but you're not here. Anna Szelągowska, Professor Anna Szelągowska, my friend, so I'm going to call her Ania. And hello, Ania.
Hello, thank you for the invitation.
Could you tell us a few words about yourself? Because I was really afraid that, I'm...
Professional or not professional?
Well, however you wish to put it.
Okay, so I'm a professor from SGH Warsaw School of Economics. I specialize in finance, banking, real estate market, as well as financial innovation and financial frauds protection.
Okay, like financial frauds. Do you do them sometimes, or you want to protect us?
No, I try to find the new methods and the new ways
to circumvent law.
Of fraudsters, and it's very interesting, especially in nowadays when the technology is changing and. All of us use internet and give many information in public space.
Yeah.
So
that's dangerous, but sounds exciting, doesn't it?
Do you have any scams that we could run really quick to make some good money?
Yeah, some tips. Give us some tips. How to make lots of money without working hard.
So I think that it is one of the aspects of our today's life. And if you have enough knowledge, it is said that information costs. So if you know
where to find it,
where to find it, and how to invest, you can be a millionaire.
Well, this is actually a hook word today because we're going to talk about investing, but we're not going to talk about banking. That's the next episode, actually. But today we're going to talk about the old age and living.
Yes.
So living options for the elderly, because I know that you're also an expert in that. So Anya, we live longer lives, we live more active lives, and our lifestyles are changing, right? And it's a challenge, it's an opportunity, and you, as an economist, you do know that, how to use it, how to change this drawback into a benefit. So, let's talk about that.
Is that okay? But everything is connected with money. We are witnesses of the aging society, and we are a part of the silver economy.
Mm-hmm. What's that? That's a difficult
silver
term.
Economy. It's a part of the economy which is related to all things which are helpful for older people and which help them to provide sufficient and affordable life.
All right, but I do know the term, but I know that you haven't heard about that, right, guys?
I never heard about it.
You haven't heard about that, okay?
Silver economy is related with the silver hair.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Why it's silver? So, yeah, it's silver hair, right? Because it's for people who are aged 50 plus, 60 plus.
Usually it is related with the group of people 65 plus age, and of course it is sometimes confused, especially when we are talking about women, which hair is colorized.
Yeah, that's true.
So they are not.
But the new
silver.
tendency, the new trend is that you stay silver, right? You stay gray. So silver economy is for sure the future of
Yes.
that we are going to observe. But for many people, it's very difficult to visualize that, the old age can mean money, can bring money, and can be the source of some financial value. So I think that many governments and local self-governments and so on, and companies have traditionally perceived the elderly as a source of problems. Sorry for that. A source of care that they have to provide. And so explain it. How can we just convert it into an opportunity?
It's very difficult.
Where's the money?
The problem is in the salary and the total sum of retirement you receive after the finishing of your work. So the dependency rate, it is the indicator which shows how high is your retirement, your pension, in comparison to the your typical salary before being before retired. So I think that most of us didn't predict or hasn't predicted that in next 20 or 25 or 30 years this dependency rate will be 25 or 30% only in comparison to the typical
money that we earn.
salary.
Yeah.
Yes. And how to pay for your bills, for other thing of which are needed in our daily life.
Sure, but we do have an answer for that in CE countries, right? We are in Poland and we do know what to do to protect ourselves against this jeopardy or risk, because I'm pretty sure that you have long thought about it, to invest into a property, into a real estate, that you can, or you wanted to inherit something from your parents, right? Because this is a traditional way to handle this problem in CE countries. When you look at for example, Western European countries, you won't experience that. Right? It's not that popular that parents gather money, they, save money for younger generations because they will take care of themselves. But, gathering money and investing into a real estate that we can hand in to our children, grandchildren, that's typically Eastern European probably, or many countries have that. But is this the right way to protect or to save the future, to protect the future?
No, from my point of view, it is not enough. But the problem is in this, that most of elderly people they save their money, but they think about using this money after retirement, and they think that this money will be enough or extra money in their daily life. However, it's almost I'm almost sure that it is very difficult to live only for this savings, and people who invest in real on real estate market have much bigger possibilities for having enough extra money, especially if these flats or houses are rented. However, I think that the best way is thinking about investment in such kind of investments when or where you may live and this kind of flat will be the best suited for your needs.
All right, but this brings us to a question about the spectrum of senior housing types, actually, right? Because the range of them is pretty wide. And it's actually senior housing. It means nursery homes. It means assisted housing. It means living in your own
Care
apartment,
homes.
care homes, etc., etc. Each country has their own solutions to this issue. But the trend that has been observed for decades now probably is aging in place. Have you heard about that?
Yes, of course. It's typical for this kind of society, especially in Central and European, Central and Eastern European countries, where there are few generations in one house, and sometimes, especially when the member of our family cannot exist on your own and need a special
live independently.
Yes, and need help 24 hours. So the one solution is the special place on the senior housing market. So we may discuss about the public senior housing and the private. But of course, if we would like to invest, so from my point of view, the best way is investing in the private estate market.
Yeah, because people prefer to they don't like public places, right? To spend their
a short
last years in.
Yes, there's a huge gap in this sector, and from my point of view, in the next 15 or 20 years, this kind of investment will be still increasing, and I think that. Especially not only from the foreign investment funds, which are the most active on senior housing market, but also individuals can invest in real estate trusts, and what's more, and they also may invest both in shares or in other securities, which are connected with investment in such places.
Okay, so you've mentioned those minor investors, right? That me and you can actually enter, and even Jacob can enter this senior housing market, actually, right? But let's talk about the investors, commercial investors that want to make big money on that. Is that a place to make big money?
Of course.
What can they do?
Let's think about the most popular investment funds, especially from Scandinavia. And they invest in the biggest cities, not only in Poland, but also in other European countries. And they build a block of flats or buy the red block of flats for rental. Even they are thinking about the senior investment, the senior housing investments.
So the type of investments that are adjusted to seniors' needs, right?
Yes, and of course, if we are talking about the senior housing, we should also talk about the difference and the possibilities of the people who will live in such place. Since there are some kinds of elderly who would like to live independence, and they may do everything, but they would like to live in a separate room or have would
some
like
privacy, right?
Yes, especially apartments. And this is one of also the new trend on the senior housing market.
So some kind of assistance, right? Some kind of aid, like
but
doing
usually,
shopping.
yes, we are. But we are
The offer, right?
Yes.
That the senior can use, or if he or she doesn't need it, well,
Yes,
he
if
won't.
we are talking about the prestige senior housing, they have also the services like concierge.
Right.
They
Sounds like a
can
fancy hotel.
Oh, yeah.
yes, they can ask for
Cleaning
booking
services.
tickets to theater
Right.
or other.
I'm in.
Is this for younger people too?
Yes. So we have also
Okay.
many kind of such investments, especially if you rent a flat in a block of flats, which is, for example, in Poland, there are many estates which are.
Not adjusted, probably. Or-
No, they are typical for rental,
Yeah.
and they are addressed to students or workers, and they also have the service of concierge. And if you would like to sign the contract for renting this flat, you may choose what would you like, what kind of bed, what kind of chairs, what kind of TV
Hey.
set, and other services, and of course it's including in the
Okay, but
bill.
what's the fee? What's the fee? That's my question. Is that expensive? I know I'm not asking about, a precise fee, but is that expensive? Is that for wealthy people only?
This kind, yes, this kind of building
But
is
there are more
rather.
and more wealthy people, right? Very often supported by families, or they're just rich and they can afford it.
But frankly speaking, this kind of building is also adapted to elderly and disabled people. Even if you are disabled, you may live in this room, and everything is available, so it is not a problem. And also, it is the new direction in the construction sector, how to build buildings which will be both for the healthy people and the people
Yeah.
who are not, who can't exist.
Or dependent,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that's a challenge for sure. But I've heard about many investments that were about to be started in Poland. Huge investments like nursery homes, plus, big estates where there were both nursery homes and some commercial flats or apartments that you could rent and have this wide range of care or care services to choose from. But they never appeared actually because, I've talked to the investors themselves and they told me that it's too early, or another reason was that they counted on some foreigners, older or foreign seniors to come to Poland, but all of a sudden it turned out that we're not that attractive here in the market. So do you think it's the time right now that it's, this is the time where investors should
Of course,
enter
definitely.
the market, or wait a bit longer till
No.
we get really, really old?
No, definitely, it is the latest moment.
Okay.
For investment, since in the next 10 years, the needs for such senior housing will be still increasing. And it is predicted that in 2050, every fourth people will be in the
Older.
65 and over age.
So this is the time.
Yes, this is the time. And what is more, we need also the professional help and sometimes the nurse help for these people. So we should think about the place, and the next we should also think about the staff. there are many also problems, especially with the
Yeah.
professionals. And you know that for example, in our country,
Yeah.
many nurses work
in Germany.
in Germany,
Switzerland.
yes, in other European countries, or even in the United States, and or Scandinavia.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
And
So we're having a problem right now, right? Because Jacob,
So,
you
just before we move on, can we specify when you say investors, now is the time to invest? Who are these investors? Are we talking about people getting older that should start buying these places? Or are we talking about someone young that has some extra cash and wants to invest it? Or are we talking, who's this investor that should
I
invest?
think everybody right
Yes.
now.
All of them.
It's time for everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think that the business, the typical business investor developers should start these investments, and it could be a kind of the new way for individuals, especially if you have the enough regulation, the legal regulation for such institutions like real estate investment trust or other investment funds. These institutions can help in investing. However, in many countries, some investment trusts has financial problems and they lost a lot of money from their individuals customers, and it could be a drawback of investing. However, if the legal regulations are when the rights of investors are protected. So it is one of the best way of investment, and of course it's much better than savings money on a bank account where you know the 0%.
Sure, yeah. Or
It's not
minus,
attractive.
or, yeah. But actually, an idea popped up in my head just a minute ago when you were talking about those various options to enter the market, because you told me that you told us, sorry Jay, you see, you should be here.
I'm here, I'm with you.
You
Spiritually.
told us that each of us could enter the market, but the market of senior housing sounds a bit like not off-putting, but it's well, the first association is difficult to handle. I don't know this market. It may be difficult to operate on it, but could we start from something like from the scratch? Could we start from buying a flat that is on the ground floor,
Yes.
has a garden, and has some facilities, or not facilities like you buy and have this senior facilities, but maybe a place that is easy adaptable to seniors'
Or it's
needs.
close to a hospital or close to a...
Yes, yes. If we are talking about the hospitals and the surroundings and other
So
facilities,
availability of
yes,
those medical care
most
facilities.
of private investment funds who are invested their money in senior housing, the location of these senior settlements are in the surrounding of the hospitals, and usually they are not located outside the city. However, they are located in the city center.
Yeah.
And I know many investment funds who invested in the old buildings, for example, in which were hospitals or
Institutions,
schools,
yeah.
and they adapted them into such prestige private senior apartments.
Okay, looking forward. Okay.
But of course, according to your last question, it is also the very interesting if we talk about the flipping. So you buy a flat which is rather
Dilapidated, cheap.
However, they need to be renovated, and most of these kind of flats are adapted in a way that is suitable for disabled people and for also for elderly people, or for people with children.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's a possible way to enter the market, to start with something easy to go into. Thank you very much, Anna. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I would summarize our podcast one sentence, that senior housing is a key part of past and future housing policy, as well as a real estate market.
Oh, great. Oh, what an ending.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Happy ending. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
And I promise I'm trying to before you count me out, homie, let me remind you. They were back in the shop, now I think it's my time to count them dollar signs like lights, they'll blind you. Let me rewind to back when I was broke and I couldn't acquire 2 cents, and now I got 2 rents. They were sleeping on me, homie, must have got too big. Call my phone, I be like, who this? Damn right, hell yeah.